I've started.
Oh, so you've come to me for advice. One bad relationship, heck, even like one bad DTR is not going to like ruin your college career, okay? Like, Jesus loves you. No one can take that away. You have all of the love that you need. You will be fine.
And if I was going to give relationship advice to the fellowship, I would say communication is super key. Even if you feel like I always have such fear, like bringing up like things I want to talk about that are like there's a problem or I feel like it's just going to be horrible. I hate confrontation, but it's always worth it in the end to bring up, even if you like feel really scared to bring up an issue or you feel like you're not going to be validated, or you're just afraid to say sorry about something or any of those things. Just push through and do it anyway because it always pays off.
My relationship advice would be to seek quality communication, and so part of that is being really honest with both yourself and with your significant other. But yeah, don't make your significant other have to guess or assume things. It's much better to communicate your expectations, or maybe times you were hurt, or how we were feeling about something, or like why you were acting a certain way. It'll save a lot of misunderstanding and it'll save a lot of pain.
Just be yourself. You're most attractive when you're not trying to be anyone else and you're just trying to be you and you're just vibing. God made you the way that you are for a reason. So yeah, don't try to be anyone else and just be yourself, and then maybe you'll attract a young, handsome, small group leader, and then he'll change your life forever.
The thing I would say is I majored in science education, so towards the end of my schooling I did a lot more like assigned readings for like education classes and stuff like that. And one of my teachers literally told me, like, if you're reading word for word every word of a assigned reading, you're never going to finish in time. Like, there's classes with so many assigned readings, you're not supposed to be reading it word for word. You're supposed to be like, read the first paragraph, read the last paragraph, skim everything in between, try to get a feel for what it's about, and then go through and look for key points and take notes on those. Don't waste your time reading word for word. So if you're in like a social science major or anything with lots of reading, I would say to really do that, because you're just going to kill yourself trying to read it all, and you're only going to get to the first 3 out of 7, and then you're not going to know anything about the last 4. So I'd say just use that strategy for all 7 rather than trying to read word for word everything. That was it.
When writing papers, your first draft is always going to be crap. No one is born a good writer, and you only get better by practicing. So suck it up and write your dang paper.
Something that I learned in college is that if you have tension or conflict with someone, bring it up as soon as you're able to. I think for me, I have a tendency to not bring things up because I want to keep the peace and I think it'll minimize harm in the long run. But in reality, if you don't bring things up, it's going to turn into bitterness in your heart, and that will, hurt you for a long time and might create distance between you and the other person. So I highly recommend clearing the air and trying to resolve conflict with the other person as soon as you're able to.
Commit to community. The people who are in your community could potentially be the friends that you have for your entire life. They could be the friend that you call up when you need a ride from the airport because no one else is going to pick you up. So commit to community, because these people love you and they want to be your friend and they just want you to grow with God.
My community advice is very simply to look for opportunities to live life with other people. So whether it be studying or going to the gym or a random trip to the beach or something, invite other people and enjoy those activities together.
My community advice for you guys is be willing to be an awkward person, especially at the beginning of the school year or when there's a new person coming into your group. Be the one who takes the 5-foot journey across the circle of people standing there to shake the new person's hand and welcome them into the group and start asking a bunch of questions about them. Even if that conversation feels a little bit like pulling teeth, it is worth having because you are taking care of that person, and I can promise you they feel loved by that. So just be willing to be awkward for the sake of community. And always have good snacks in your room.
God is with you. He is with you every second of the day, which means that you can spend time with Him any second of the day. If you're walking to class, if you're eating in the dining hall, you can talk to Him. He's with you and He wants to spend time with you. Spend time with God. He wants to spend time with you. It's crazy. It changes your life. It's crazy. He's listening.
Well, as a human that's only slightly older than you, I think a big thing would be to not be afraid of your doubts. They don't make you a bad Christian. They don't make you a bad believer. They just mean that you want your faith to be as real and as authentic as possible. God is big enough to handle all of your confusion, all of your anger, and all of your skepticism. So you can always, bring those things you are doubting or fearful about to Him. The only thing that He doesn't want is your indifference.
My spiritual advice for you guys is to remember that God is an emotional God, and since we are created in His image, that we are allowed to be emotional beings, and not only allowed to be, but encouraged to be, because I think God uses emotions to point us to underlying issues that we aren't totally aware of. So my encouragement for you guys is when you're feeling emotions and you're not totally sure why they're coming up at that moment, to just bring it to God and say, what does this mean? What is this pointing to? Why am I feeling this way? And really partner with God in that journey of becoming who He created you to be.
So something that I wish that I had understood better a lot earlier is that it's okay to desire worldly things. You just have to desire God more. And what I mean by that is that it's okay to pray for those good grades or that summer internship or a relationship that you want, because we're human and we're going to want these things. You can actually let God know that you want these things. But you have to desire God more, because when you desire God more than anything He could ever give you, then that's when you allow yourself to be completely transparent with the things you want in the world and not have it hurt your relationship with God. Otherwise, your relationship with God will end up depending on whether or not He gives you the blessings that you desire. And that type of relationship is not very life-giving at all.
So the spiritual advice that I want to leave you guys with is to always seek growth in your relationship with God. In my life, I've found that asking the question, God, what is the next small step that you are calling me into in order to grow in my relationship with you? That question has been really, really useful and has helped me in my spiritual walk to kind of always seek growth. So I would encourage you guys to, whether it be every day or just every time you journal, just ask that question, God, what is the next small step that you are calling me into? But yeah.
Okay, so if I was going to give spiritual advice to the rest of IVBCF, I would say just to treat your relationship with God like your relationship with any other person. It can have its ups and downs, but I would say never be content with it being stagnant. I think that's what I learned through college was in any relationship, there's going to feel times when you're really close to someone, and there's going to be times when you feel kind of distant from someone, but never be content with feeling distant from God. Just tell someone about it. Pray about it. I think telling someone that you're close to would be the best advice I have. If you're feeling distant from God, don't be content to just be that way.
So I want to encourage you, if you are in a season of waiting on something or someone from God, to really wait well. And what I mean by that is in this season, God can be asking, do you really trust me? Do you really believe that I am for you? Do you believe that I know the longings of your heart? And do you believe that I am the true satisfier for your soul? So present whatever you are waiting for God to do to Him, and then trust that He wants what's best for you and in His perfect timing.
Another piece of advice I have is to love yourself, like Namjoon said in the Love Yourself BTS series. I think it's so easy to compare ourselves to others or to compare ourselves to the ideal image of a person or a leader that we have in our heads. But in reality, God made you amazing and special just the way you are. He didn't make a single mistake when He gave you the attributes that you have. So I hope that you can cherish the way that God made you to be and authentically just do you. And on a related note, I would say don't worry too much about what other people think about you. I've done a lot of embarrassing things in college, and what I realized is that most of the time people aren't paying attention and they don't notice, or if they do notice, they'll forget about it in 15 minutes. So chill. It's okay to make mistakes, and yeah.
Try lots of new things. If you see a club for something that you're interested in, try it out, even if it's just for a quarter. I did it, and it was one of the best things that I did in my 4 years of college.
This is the random advice on good food spots on campus. North Campus, YRL. Not the floor you walk in, but the floors above that. Each floor has a lot of independent food spots that you can make use of. The top floor of Kirkhoff also has large table and many reclining chairs. Anderson Library has the best chair, desk, and also lighting. Going to South Campus, in between Bolter and MS, there's a set of stairs and an elevator that goes all the way up to 8th floor where you can find an engineering library. Going back to 5th floor, there's a cafe called Steve's Cafe, and they sell the cheapest coffee on campus. Geology building also has an engineering library, the floor above your entry floor. If you ever need for printing, copying, or making a large poster for your presentations, go check out Terasaki building, which is across from YGL chemistry building. Another one, my favorite, is biomedical library, which is south of South Campus next to Botanical Garden. All these things I've listed are not only your study spots, but could be also your nap spots. We all take it, so don't worry about it. Have fun studying.
Every Thursday,
Treat yourself.
To a tasty
Grande Cali burrito.
and don't forget the green sauce.
Okay, my last piece of advice is do not buy coffee from North Campus coffee shops because they're more expensive there. You really can't taste the difference. So buy coffee from like Kirkhoff or Ackerman if you are looking for a cheap cup of coffee.
Alternatively, make friends with someone who works in one of the coffee shops and hook you up.
Amen. I don't really like that, what I just said. I think I'll do it again.
This is literally like the 100th take of this video. And